This is Paranormal Short Session 29 by Keith Evans at the Chestnut Street Cemtery in Apalachicola, Florida. Today is Monday, the 18th of September, 2023. And I'm here at Mr. Philip Curiray tombstone. He's already spoken some words to me. I have to get in the shade for you to be able to see it with the sun and the reflection. But actually, these words were given to me near the tombstone of Mrs. Clark. That's who we're going to go to next. And anyway, I'd like to thank everyone who supports me and my book, The Hayes House Ghost or People 2. Two formats, paperback online, ebook at Kindle, and also who checks out and subscribes to my YouTube channel, Paranormal Short Sessions by Keith Evans. Mr. Clark, you spoke during the, I guess you could say, promos, and I hope you will talk some more. I know some ghosts and spirits are shy about talking when it's going to be on YouTube, but it's really about the same thing. Is there any question you'd like to ask me? I'll answer it. Would you like me to go away? Did you use all your energy doing the promos? Yeah, I guess that wasn't a good idea, huh? Was it, Mr. Carrier, for me to turn it on during the promos? It'll make the promos interesting, right? All right. Let's just survey the area here. Now, Mr. Courier has this little tombstone here. Footstone, I'm sorry. I wanted to show you that. I don't know if it was towering, got broke off, or it just sunk into the ground. Mr. Carrier, do you know if it sunk into the ground, or is it just short like that? Let me go in the shade. You'll be able to see it better if there's a word. Sometimes the words are so light that I don't hear them, meaning that they're soft. They're hard for me to hear. Let me check out there. Ring, witch, truck. Well, that's two more words. I didn't hear those coming on there. Ring, witch, as in wicked witch, and truck. Are you talking about marriage ring, Mr. Carrier? And I guess did it involve a truck? So you got a truck after you were married? Did the marriage not end too well? Did your wife get custody of the truck? Was it your favorite truck? Let's see if there's any more words, because I'm sure they're not hearing anything. Ring, witch, truck. I didn't hear those come up. Huh. All right, Mr. Carrier, I'll get closer, and I'll put it down on the top of your tombstone so you don't have to try to utilize it while I'm talking and holding it. It's like a phone. You don't want to use a phone while someone else holds it, do you? I don't. If you have any questions for me, maybe that was a question for me. Let me see. Ring and witch, yeah, I had one bad marriage. And it's drawing a lot of conclusions, right? And truck. No, I've never owned a truck. The only time I've driven trucks was in the Army. When I first joined back in the 80s, I drove a deuce and a half. Actually, I had a chance to drive a 5-ton. And I drove some other vehicles when I was in the Army Reserves. I joined the Army Reserves later on, but some of those vehicles were like, I'd never seen too much of them. The one vehicle had like a snub nose on it. It was different than any other vehicle I had driven. I also got to drive a school bus, a bus-sized vehicle when I was in the Army. Besides forklifts. Were you ever in the Army, Mr. Carrier? I smell a strong scent of pine. Probably coming from that spruce tree over there. But I don't know. Let me see. Ring Witch Truck. That's all I have so far. All right, Mr. Clark, you might be out of energy. Do you mind if I go over here and talk? I'm Mr. Carrier. Do you mind if I go over and talk to Mrs. Clark? Let's see if my shadow might help it to be able to be seen better. All right. All right, we're going to go over and talk to Mrs. Clark for a while. Hey, Mrs. Clark. Earlier we were talking about the cake. Mrs. Clark, did you like the bake? Were you a baker, Mrs. Clark? What was William C. Bell like? I guess Mrs. Clark is her maiden name. So should I say Mrs. Rebecca Clark? Is it Beale or Bell? All right, Mrs. Clark, I know that you'd rather use Ovilus without me holding it, so I'm going to put it down here on your tombstone, and you can use it whenever you like. If you'd like to ask me a question, I'm more than happy to answer. Glad it's a cooler day because I'm pretty much out in the sun right now. Mrs. Clark, what did you like to bake? Did you like to bake cookies, cakes, bread, pies? If so, what type of pie? This must have been, it looks like it had a slot for a narrow, slender tombstone. So I don't know if that was just put there to support this so it wouldn't fall back, since the tree here that's been cut down, it looks like it was a cedar tree because it's got that really, I don't know, 7 or 8 sided type shape to it, like an octagon, hexagon, hepagon type 7, 6, 8 sided shape to it. So that kind of pushed the tombstone up and kind of made like a hill so it could fall back, and that might have been what broke it. You see it's chipped here. Mrs. Clark, what year did your tombstone get broken? We still got Ring, Witch, and Truck. Ring is R-I-G-N, correction, R-I-N-G. Witch is W-I-T-C-H. Truck is T-R-U-C-K. And we got those words, I think, when we were over at Mr. Carrier's grave. Mrs. Clark or Mrs. Bell or Bealle, do you think I'm rude? Do you think I'm curious? If you were alive right now, what would you do to me? I guess she would ignore me. All right, Mrs. Clark, I just wanted to say you had a neat tombstone. I'm sorry it got broke. I think the cedar probably helped deform the ground to the point where the heaviness of the tombstone was too much for it and it just cracked on its own. Hopefully it wasn't vandalism. Was it vandalism that cracked your tombstone, Mrs. Clark? Well, so let me know. Well, Mrs. Clark, do you mind if I go back over and talk to Mr. Carrier? You might be out of energy. You know, some people feel that trees have spirits and that their spirit could choose electromagnetic energy. So, let's give it a try. Go set it down here on this tree trunk. All right, Mr. Tree, Cedar Tree, if you have any energy, can you use the Ovilus 5 with your electromagnetic energy to choose a word? I keep hearing rustling of these limbs up here. It's a little bit windy. Let's see if we get anything here. That was probably on the bottom, and this was probably on top of that to support the tombstone there. And somehow it might have gotten moved over the years. See if we got any words on there from the cedar. What's left of the cedar stump? No, we did not. All right, I'm going to put the Ovilus 5 down here and ask any spirits that they know, why this little tombstone type object is here. Is it somebody's tombstone that has fallen over and the information's on the front? Trying to look at it good. It's got so much moss and, over the years, buildup of pollen and tree sap that you really can't tell. I don't think there's any words on there. Is this somebody else's tombstone? If so, what is your last name? If you don't feel comfortable giving me your last name, give me whatever name you'd like to give me. My name is Keith Evans. Oh, yes, I'm going to be using this on YouTube. My YouTube channel is called Paranormal Short Sessions by Keith Evans. Also, I'm going to be using the promos on Facebook and Instagram. So if you're a ghost and spirit and you don't feel comfortable with that, then don't choose any words. And I'm not going to be using my thermal imager today. I'm just going to be using the Ovilus Vb. Seems like a strikeout. Oh. Let me see if there's any words here. Nope, no words. Well, let's go back over to Mr. Carrier. Hi, Mr. Carrier. I'm kind of striking out as far as getting words on the Ovilus 5. Anything you'd like to say before I end this paranormal short session? You have a rather neat tombstone with a border on all three sides except for the bottom. And they got at the very bottom under the age 21 years, you got like a little star thing. I don't know if it can be seen through the shade. At the top, it looks like some type of urn or whatever. You had to put ashes in, and then you got decorations on the side. This side's pretty well drowned out, but this side you can see some type of wavy decoration. All right, Mr. Philip Carrier. I guess you're out of energy. Let me walk over here in the shade so I can see this, the face of my obelisk well.
Begin.
I got begin. It sounds like begin. So after truck, we got begin, B-E-G-I-N. Yeah, you can begin. You can talk to Mr. Clark. If your name's not Mr. Clark, then what is your name for me, please? My name is Keith Evans. Most of the time at this point, I get like a word like in or finished when the ghosts know that I'm ready to stop my paranormal research. I still have to take still photos when I get done. I'm not going to be using my C5 thermal camera by Flare today. Kind of mix it up a little bit so you all see different things. Last time I didn't use my Ovilus Vb. I was going to, but I actually forgot about it. I got so involved with everything else. What would you like to begin? Would you like to begin talking? Yeah, feel free to talk. You can use my Ovilus 5. This is it, the one that's I'm shaking up and down. Well, I'm not getting much here. I'm going to go ahead and end this paranormal short session by paranormal short session 29 by Keith Evans. Today's date is Monday, the 18th of September, 2023. I'd like to thank Mr. Philip Carrier and Mrs. Rebecca Clark Bealle, or Bealle, for their participation in today's paranormal short session. And please watch my YouTube channel called Paranormal Short Sessions by Keith Evans. Like it, subscribe to it. It's free. There's no charge. Now, if you want a good deal on my book and my in two formats, paperback and also ebook, Amazon is having a deal on it. If you buy both, I think the total is something like $15-16 plus tax or shipping, whatever they do. Every time I buy on Amazon, they give me a choice, and I usually take that choice and get free shipping. It might take a little longer, but you'll get it. All right, I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for all your support. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.